Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Adel Garcia and I'm with Keller Williams Realty. And today I'm going to give you my top 15 tips for first-time home buyers. You're not going to want to miss it. Let's dive in. Alright, so number one is get an estimate from your lender on how much your mortgage payments are going to be and what is going to be your closing costs. Some lenders give it to you, but it's better that you ask them and be sure so that you know how much you're putting down on your home and how much the full mortgage payment is going to be when you start making payments. Some people, they get pre-approved for $200,000 and then they go shopping and then forget that they have to put $20,000 down and then they might not have the money and then they are out of luck. So yeah, always ask your lender for an estimate. Alright, so number two is get at least 3 lender quotes. This is super important because a lot of people, when they're first-time home buyers, they go with the first lender that pre-approves them. Well, don't do that. And go get at least 3 quotes. The FICO model works as it gives you about 14 days span if you're financing the same type of home. So go through 3, get the lowest interest lender and go with that lender. It saves you a little bit of money for closing costs and it's at no fault to you, like your credit score is not going to go down, and it benefits you at the end. So go to at least 3 lenders and get the quotes. And number 3, as a first-time home buyer, you need representation. You need someone that has your best interest in mind, someone who's going to fight for you. Don't go with the listing agent or the builder. Get someone on your court. Is at no cost to you most of the time. So yeah, for sure, as a first-time home buyer, get representation. By that, I mean get an agent that represents you and has your best interest, someone that works for you. And number 4, there are 4 loan types: USDA, conventional loan, FHA, and VA loans, okay? And most of the time, you can knock down 2 of them because USDA loans are for rural areas and VA loans are for military and veterans. So usually you will qualify for an FHA or a conventional loan. There are various programs that go into like FHA and then conventional, but most of the time you'll qualify for those. And number 5 is owner-occupant. Most mortgages, you are going to get the lowest rate and the lowest down payment if you're going to owner-occupy the property you're about to purchase. So this does not mean that if you're living in Texas and you want to buy a house in New Jersey, you can. The only problem is that you might not get the best interest and your down payment might be a little high. How do they know that you're going to owner-occupy that home? Well, usually you would sign, or they know by your employment. If you have a job that's close by the property or something like that, or if you can get verification from your employer that you're working remote. These days, a lot of people are working remote. But yes, you will get the lower interest rate and the lower down payment if you're going to owner occupy the home. Number 6, make sure you know all 3 credit scores. I'm not talking about Credit Karma. I'm talking about TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Most likely the lender is going to take the middle score. So if you know that your score is in the high end, then you should be fine. But this is something that you should know before applying for a mortgage. Number 7, utility payments do not count towards your DTI, your debt to income. For instances like cell phones and rent and utilities, they're not borrowed money, so it's not something that's gonna go against you. Only things like student loans, credit card payments, car payments, those things count towards the DTI. It's a little bit confusing, but just think of money that you borrowed. You didn't borrow any money for utilities, so that doesn't go towards the DTI. You borrowed credit, you financed the car, so those things go towards the DTI. Number 8, do a budget. Especially if you're going to try to buy a house, write down a budget. You know what your income is. Do a written budget and live on a budget. It is super important. You save as much money as you can. A lot of people don't realize that closing costs are 4 to 6% of the sale of the home, and they need to have that money set aside. So save as much as you can for a year or 2 and make it happen. Number 9, let me repeat this again. Number 9, buy a house before you finance a car. Okay, because once you finance the car, it's gonna go against your DTI and you might not be able to afford the mortgage. it works in a funny way. So if you have like, people come to me and they're like, oh, I'm making $50,000, do you think I can qualify for a mortgage? Okay, well, you might qualify for a mortgage, but then we start looking at what they pay on a monthly basis, credit cards, car payments. Car payments are a lot. So that goes against your DTI, and then it gets you to not be qualified for a home. So always make sure, if you're building wealth, buy a house before you buy a car, or at least finance a car. If you want to just pay cash for the car, that's fine, but don't finance it. Buy a house before you finance a car. Number 10, file your taxes. This might seem a little bit funny, but there are a lot of people that don't file taxes, and then when it comes to buying the home, they're scrambling, trying to get everything together, all the paperwork. You have to file your taxes. The lender is going to look for at least 2 years of your tax return, and if you don't file, it's going to make it very, very complicated, especially if you owe money, and you will not get a mortgage until you make those payments to the IRA and settle their debt. Super important for you to file your tax. Number 11, always get a home inspection. This goes without saying. You need to inspect the home before you buy it. It usually costs like $400 to $600 for an inspection. This is something that the buyer pays, but it is super important. You don't know what's going on with the home. You want to check out the foundation, and a home inspection is crucial. Especially if you're a first-time home buyer and you're not so experienced, you need a home inspection. And if you have a good real estate agent, I will always recommend that my buyers get a home inspection. Number 12, always get title insurance. You need title insurance. This goes for instances where after you buy the home, the title for some reason is not valid. The title company will insure your interest, and they'll come out of pocket. Very important for you to get title insurance. Always get it. Number 13, you choose your closing attorney. Don't forget this. As a first-time home buyer, sometimes it can get a little bit confusing, and you might not know this, but you choose your closing attorney. You can also choose your title company most of the time, generally. You can always also ask your real estate agent for recommendations. I'm sure they're gonna know closing attorneys and title companies. Choose one that have lower fees so that it can bring down your closing costs. That would be my recommendation. But yes, you choose your attorney as a first-time home buyer, okay? All right, number 14 is, usually to get a mortgage, you need income, you need credit, and you need low debt, okay? So I get a lot of people asking, well, I make $100,000. Do I qualify for a mortgage? Well, we would have to evaluate your debt, basically. So you can make $100,000, but if 60% of it is debt, it's not gonna work. You see what I'm saying? So income, credit, and low debt, you can evaluate those things before you decide you want to purchase a home, or before you decide you want to get pre-approved. Evaluate them through and see where you fit in. All right, and we are almost done. Number 15, when you qualify for a mortgage, make sure through the mortgage process, it could take 30 to 45 days, that you are in the same financial position as you were when you first got the mortgage. This is super important. You are in the same or better financial position than when you were when you first applied for the mortgage, okay? So meaning you still have employment, your debt is low, and you have good credit still. So a lot of people forget that you need to be in the same financial position or better, or they finance a car. Can't do that. You cannot do that while you're waiting to get a mortgage, or while you're waiting for your home to close. You just cannot finance things like that. Your real estate agent will kill you. All right, guys, that was it. My top 15 tips for first-time home buyers and advice. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like always, my name is Adel Garcia. Thank you for watching my video and supporting me. Like and subscribe, and I will see you on the flip side.